the Super Bowl.
Broadcasting from Radio Row inside the Mandalay Bay Convention Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. You are tuned into Sideline Sports Talk Network's The W Show on 100.1 FM, Kansas City. Brought to you by Stockman Law Firm, The Soul of Santa, the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, Golden Gate Funeral and Cremation Services, Gates Barbecue, Positivity Water, Soiree Steak and Oyster House, The Right Tally Tax Preparation, Dillard's Zona Rosa, KC Wheat Spin 360, Derek Thomas Neil Smith III and Long Foundation, Phenomenal Kids Child Care Learning Center, XC Fright Studio Plush, Sierra Fonseca, Hairstylist in New York Life.
Mandalay Bay Convention Center is where we are. We have another great guest joining us. She's a part of the kingdom. We can say that. She has on her red for Red Friday. Dr. Como Ashraf, who's the assistant professor, Department of Neurology, and the director of MU Concussion Program at the University of Missouri Healthcare. How are you today?
Good, thank you. Happy to be here.
That's good. So, Red Friday, how are you feeling?
I'm excited. I'm so excited. And it's so awesome that Columbia is just right down the street from Kansas City, and we're all part of the same Missouri family.
Yeah. So who do you have on Sunday, actually? I want to start with that.
Well, the Chiefs,
okay.
Of course.
I just want to make sure.
I'm here, my red and yellow. No secret who I'm supporting.
Even being right down the road, is it still as much of a party as it is in Kansas City, even though you guys are a little bit outside?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, my kids were wearing Chiefs clothes today, actually, at school. And at the hospital where I work, everyone's in Chiefs gear, and it's usually like that every Friday during season.
Nice. Now talk a little bit about what brings you to Radio Row.
Yeah, well, I'm really happy to be here. It's my first time here this weekend. I'm a neurologist at the University of Missouri. I'm a clinician, educator, administrator, scientist. And part of my clinician role is I take care of people with seizures and concussions.
Gotcha.
As part of my clinical work, and as an administrator, I am the medical director of our concussion program. So great opportunity, met the right people at the right time, right place. And what we're doing at the university is really kind of taken fire. So I was given the opportunity to speak at the Brain Health Summit tomorrow as the first hour of Lee Steinberg's Super Bowl party.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
And
now, we've seen a lot of changes, I guess, with the NFL and the concussion protocol, things like that. What are you seeing as far from a doctor standpoint on just the concussions and things of that nature?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely there. I speak for concussions as a fitness person and an athlete myself. I'm a power lifter. We don't get many concussions there, but we know in the sports community that concussions happen.
Right.
I have track athletes, I have softball athletes, I have baseball, soccer, football, rodeo, I've just the whole gamut of athletes. And we know concussions happen. We know that there's an integrity to the way the sport is played. So really, and we know that it happens in general population too. So we know, and we're finding that if we get people in and diagnosed quickly, and things like sleep, their mental health, their cognitive health, their eye and body movements, and their pain all addressed and evaluated for, we can come up with a customized multidisciplinary plan that helps people to get better faster, back to their return to activities at the level they're used to, and safely. Do
you feel like it's tough to get these athletes to abide by those? Like when you create that plan and you speak of sleep and just the discipline of it all, do you think it's tough to have athletes that abide by those rules?
Listen, I have two girls that are 9 and 6, and I take care of pediatrics athletes as well, and older athletes, pro level, because we have the NFL and NCAA concussion settlement program contracts at Mizzou, and it's hard at all levels. So there was a study that said that coaches think that parents should do a better job at advocating for head injuries. Parents said that coaches should do a better job, and they all agreed, as you're saying, that the athlete themselves should do a better job of advocating for themselves and participating in the brain rejuvenation, brain health things that need to happen.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because we don't really see a lot of the coach parent, or coach spouse, those kind of
Caregiver.
they don't connect sometimes. And as the doctor, do you sometimes have to play that middleman?
Oh yeah,
Or middlewoman?
absolutely. Yeah. I always tell the patients, their caregivers, I'm here sometimes to be bad cop, and I'm happy to be bad cop. With my two kids, I love it when someone else can be bad cop for a little bit. So yeah, I think that there is a piece of accountability that has to happen. The athlete for themselves, number one, right? They have to advocate and be accountable to themselves. And then it's their community of people. And we know athletes have a big community of people. So, it is the caregivers, it is the coaches, it is their medical teams, all of that.
Yeah, you mentioned powerlifting earlier. How did you get into to powerlifting? And then we need to hear some max lifts.
Oh, okay, you're going personal.
Yes, drop the
I'm
stats.
okay. Yeah, I'm okay with that. So, I've always been kind of a competitor. Actually, the last time I was in Vegas was 10 years ago. I ran a Tough Mudder with my brother.
Ooh.
And did high school sports a lot. But then I had my second kid, got back into fitness, and actually my first coach is now my concussion program coordinator. So we've maintained a relationship. We speak the same value the same fitness things. And then a few years into training, he was like, I think you need to take a right-hand turn a little bit into powerlifting. So I weigh in at the 52 kg weight class. With the Vegas food here, I'm probably a little outside my weight class right now, but so that's 114 pounds. I have the Missouri State records, the Open, Sub-Masters, and now that I'm in the Masters, I'm waiting for my first Masters competition, and I'll have that record. But my squat is 245.
Okay. Yes.
My bench is my weakest lift. I have long arms for my body size. Don't engage my lats enough, says my current coach. And that's at about 120.
Okay.
And then my deadlift is the last time I did it was 310 for 3.
I was gonna say 300.
So,
yeah.
310 for 3. So I'm hoping that the next time I compete, it'll be
A little higher.
a little higher than that.
Yeah.
Love that. And you mentioned you had daughters. With the knowledge that you have, does it make you weary about them dabbling in different sports? Are you more hesitant on allowing them to play certain sports, or how are you going to go about that?
Yeah, so kids are interesting, right? Because they don't have the frontal lobes developed enough sometimes to know what their boundaries are, what their limits are.
Right.
So I think that the importance is in training, and I value passion for sure. So the way I counsel my own kids, or I would lead them or other kids, is you have to want to do something, be willing to continue training it, and so that increases safety, and kind of be good at it if you're going to do something that increases your risk, right? So being an athlete myself, no, and the way that concussion program started is I had a distally torn bicep after a heavy power clean. And then the executive director at our ortho program, I was like, hey, we need a concussion program. But it took me a year to pull that trigger and see somebody, because I wanted to compete. And I was like, I'll just fight through the pain. So I get it. And if you love a sport, you want to compete in it. And so if my kids are passionate about a sport, they can compete in it. But I'm going to be sure I get them really good safety-centered training.
Gotcha.
So that they don't think that they can do something that they're not really fully trained to do.
Gotcha.
So the worst case scenario is when you see somebody taking a header to a ball playing soccer when they haven't had that training. Or
And I was a college soccer player, so I know
I'm sure you took
all
your
about
header
it.
right. Yeah,
yes,
so.
I did have my fair share of concussions throughout my career, but like you said, taking kicks off, goal kicks and stuff like that, straight to the head was no joke. And I was always weary about it. My coaches, of course, never wanted us to back down, but it's hard knowing that, knowing that you're going to take the hit, knowing that you almost need to, or you're expected to, and making that game time decision. But
Well, it's like knowing where I am, if I was to try to pull 400-pound deadlift, I'm going to get hurt.
Yeah.
So if you don't have the right training, if you're not prepared, you're going to get hurt. And we know too that if people haven't fully recovered from a concussion, they're at about 50 to 60% increased risk of a musculoskeletal injury. So that ACL, the knee, the shoulder, things that look like it's just that, but actually in the background, it's the brain.
Wow. Yeah. That's interesting.
Are there any day-to-day brain health things, precautionary things that just the average person should do? And then also for someone that, like Jasmine and myself, that has suffered from multiple concussions?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. So, as an adult neurologist, I see mostly Gen Pop, right? General population people. So there are things we can all do to level and increase our baseline level of brain health and brain resiliency. So sleep well, have good interactive relationships at work, at home, because that keeps your brain firing and interacting with people. Exercising at least 30 minutes a day, 3 times a week. It's important to keep your body fit so your brain is fit. Good nutrition. So I'm doing this study at the University of Missouri right now looking at post-concussive nutrition supplements. And creatine is actually huge.
Really? Okay.
There's evidence on fish oil and turmeric and a bunch of things. So post-concussive nutrition is important, but also for the general population to increase baseline resiliency. So that's sleep, the human interaction, communication, the exercise, nutrition. And then I would just say that continuing the challenge. I think that those are important things to keep your brain healthy.
Definitely.
Then when you do suffer an injury, you can probably be resilient enough to recover faster. But when that happens, it's really important to engage a multidisciplinary team, which is something special that we're doing at the university. We have a really robust team of neuropsychologists, physical, occupational speech therapists that are poised and experts in the post-concussive arena. We have radiology that looks at that, looks at the studies that are ordered, EEGs. So really it's addressing the medical things, sleep, mental health, cognitive health, eye and body movements, and pain, of course, in a healthy way to try to return a brain that's been injured back to normal.
Yeah. Great. Good to know.
How can people find you? How can people find your content?
Yeah. Well, thanks for asking. So I'm on the University of Missouri physicians page. If you type concussion at the University of Missouri, you'll see the team. I'm on that team. I'm the medical director there. So, and then I'm on LinkedIn and Twitter and Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
We appreciate you giving us part of your day.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah. Go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
Right.
Yeah. We'll be right back here with more guests live from Radio Row inside of the Mandalay Bay Convention Center.
Go ahead, say it then. Who the GOAT? Who the GOAT? Who the GOAT? Who the GOAT? Big as the what? Big as the Super Bowl.
Broadcasting from Radio Row inside the Mandalay Bay Convention Center in Las Vegas, Nevada. You are tuned into Sideline Sports Talk Networks, the W Show on 100.1 FM, Kansas City. Brought to you by Stockman Law Firm, the Soul of Santa, the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, Golden Gate Funeral and Cremation Services, Gates Barbecue, Positivity Water, Soiree Steak and Oyster House, The Right Cali Tax Preparation, Dillard's Zona Rosa, KC We Spin 360, Derek Thomas Neil Smith III and Long Foundation, Phenomenal Kids Child Care Learning Center, XC Fright, Studio Plush, Sierra Fonseca, Hairstylist in New York Life,